thinking recently about this. And very recently, the last couple of days, I've had a lot of anxiety about everything, but also in particular about even coming to this conversation about relaxation, because I felt that I need to be able to express my anger. I need to be able to be anxious and stressed if that's how I feel. And, I just need to, I almost felt like I need to carry that from that place in order to be able to interact with the world around me. And what I realized that, of course, I'm doing the exact opposite. By holding that reactivity, I'm cutting myself off from being able to connect. And by not allowing my body to relax, I continue to provoke the stress and the stress hormones and all of the things that come with that continue to wreak havoc on my body. And so the invitation that I have for us today is that now is exactly the time when we need these practices the most. And it's the time where we might most want to actively put up the walls in ourselves against those practices and say, this is, I don't want to do the sitting practice. And yet, of course, that's exactly the time that we need to sit and that we need to take the breath. So that in and of itself is something that just brings us back to the element of why we need to relax, why we need to give ourselves permission to relax, even when it feels like now is the time to do something else, maybe. That relaxation actually is what allows me to be calm enough to respond rather than react. It's what allows me to return to center in order to be able to focus and be able to come from a place of what I'm really here to do, a sense of purpose, rather than just come from a reactive place from even my own emotions about what might be going on around me. And there's plenty for us to be able to react to right now in our external world, in our cultural and social space, and in our own individual lives. I know that many, many of us have been dealing with a number of difficult experiences in our families and in our own individual lives. So the relaxation, as much as it almost felt counter to me, and maybe for many of you as well, it's also exactly, I think, what we need now more than ever. And I love that we're already sharing some of these ways to relax in the chat, and bath time has been great for me as well. So hopefully this will feel like for those of you who enjoy baths, this will feel like a welcome, warm bath. So we'll do a little relaxation practice together, and we'll do some journaling, and then we'll move into our conversation. So I thank you all for showing up, because I think without the 150 or so of us showing up every week, I might forget. So I really do appreciate, and that we can remind each other to hold on to our practices in times that we need them. So with that, I invite us into a place of relaxation with a practice. And we'll go back to the basics. One of my favorite practices is a body scan. And we'll do that practice together. I'll guide us through it, and then we'll do some journaling right afterwards. So if you have a journal or a piece of paper and a pen nearby, you can grab those just so that they're right by you. And I'll invite you to close your eyes for this practice. And if that's not comfortable for you, you don't need to, but just a note that I don't always do that. There are many practices that invite you to kind of just have a lowered gaze, and this is a little bit more of a visualization. So, and all of those that I just said are wonderful ways to practice relaxation as well. So you can take a moment and just land back in your seat and close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. And then just tune into the breath again. And for a moment, I'd like you to just visualize almost a golden orb. So just a soft, warm light, perhaps. And I'd like you to envision that um, at the bottoms of your feet. So kind of at the edge of your feet, not totally inside your feet yet, but just at the edges of your feet, this circle or warm orb of golden light. And as you inhale and exhale, I'd like you to notice that the orb gets bigger and smaller as you inhale and exhale. So on the inhale, the orb fills up with warm golden light. And as you exhale, it recedes again, just coming back to a smaller orb of golden light. Just follow the inhale, expanding the orb, and on the exhale, contracting just a little bit. And on the next inhale, I'd like you to just bring that golden orb to your toes and allow it to just enter into the feet. And maybe it splits in two so that it can equally warm your toes and the balls of your feet. And continuing to follow the inhale and the exhale, the orb is correspondingly bringing the warmth and energy to the different parts of your feet. So maybe the instep and the heels. And then that warm orb travels to the ankles, the calves, traveling up the legs, the shins, and just filling and warming and relaxing every muscle and tendon that it touches. Letting the orb rise to the knees, clearing out any tension, anything that's not needed. Letting that warm orb travel into the thighs, the tops of the legs, and continuing to follow the breath. Bringing the golden light into the hips and the pelvis. And the base of the spine. And on the inhale, expanding and releasing any tension. On the exhale, just continuing to follow any tension that may be living in the hips, releasing it. Bringing that into the belly button, the center of the gut. Just releasing any tension, any holding that you may have there. Just releasing it, letting it spill out. In the low back. Just expanding on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. And letting that golden orb travel up to the sternum and the rib cage. Maybe you can even feel the light pushing out of the rib cage. Just expanding and releasing. And letting that attention rise to the chest, the collarbones. And then to the shoulders. Feeling the expansion and the release. And letting that energy and attention move to the elbows, to the wrists and the fingertips. Just expanding and releasing. Again, perhaps letting any tension or anything that's not needed just drip out of the fingertips. Noticing any sensations that may arise in the body. Bringing the golden orb back up into the throat, the back of the neck, just feeling these two areas. Bringing the golden orb up into the jaw. And perhaps just for a moment, clenching the jaw and releasing, actively feeling the jaw, holding and releasing. And then feeling the golden orb behind the nostrils, behind the nose and the sinuses, behind the eyes, the back of the skull, the crown of the head. Perhaps on the inhale, feeling the entire body expand. And on the exhale, releasing. One more time, feeling the entire body just expand, feeling every particle of the body expanding, 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 and then releasing. And on this last inhale, you'll inhale and just feel that golden light pulsing in the body. And on the exhale, picture an open space in the crown of the head where the light just shoots out. That golden light just shoots out into the sky, releasing all of the tension, anything that's not needed, and also releasing that inner peace and joy that lives in us that can go out and be a blessing in the world. Just for that moment, just feel that release out into the crown of the head. Final inhale and exhale. You can return perhaps to your paper and pencil and just write down anything that may be coming up, any feelings or sensations that are in the body, anything that you may have noticed by just being in the body and connecting with these different points of the body. And just try and stay attuned to also sensations that may have come up. So as you traveled through the body, maybe you noticed a place where you're holding a lot of tension, or maybe you noticed a place where it was really helpful to find release, or, oh, here is where my emotions are. Sometimes I find them hiding in my hips or behind my shoulder blades. So just noticing if there's anything that came up for you just by being in the body for these few moments. And then as you move from sensation, if there were any feelings that came up, just writing down anything that may have arisen for you. One thing, for example, for me is when I got to the throat space, I realized, oh yeah, the voicing, being able to express my emotions has been quite hindered a little bit. So just noticing, where are there places that the body has messages for us? And then if there are any places where you feel a renewed sense of clarity or focus, perhaps as we came to that final expansion and release, place, you notice something that feels more clear, something perhaps that you've been frustrated about or that you've been kind of holding on to, and that just kind of giving it a fresh eyes, a new look now, you see there's some renewed clarity, perhaps, maybe not. Yeah, Diane shares that she's holding tension in her jaw and neck and find the breathing feel almost pressure released from my chest. So, absolutely. Thank you, Diane. And Risa, I can be a source of light in the world. Beautiful. So before we go too much more into sharing in the large group, we will go to the magic of being together in our small groups, and we will turn to each other in groups of 4 or so, and really give each other just space to listen and be heard. Give each other the gift of listening, which means making room for each person to speak. So please enjoy the gift of this time together and of deeply listening to each other. Share your name and where you're coming from, and just anything that might be coming up for you, any insights about this feeling of relaxation, and maybe even tips or tricks that you've used, or that you want to remind yourself to use going forward. So enjoy this time together, and please make space for each person to be able to speak, and we'll give you about 20 minutes. So a good, healthy length of time to be able to connect with each other. So please enjoy this time together, and we'll see you back here in about 20 minutes.